Do you ever finish a design project and think, wait, I definitely should have charged more for that? Or find yourself on revision number 10 because you can't say no to client requests? Maybe you're working late nights, but your bank account does not reflect all of that effort. If you just nodded your head yes to any of that, I get it. I was right there a couple months ago, but I figured out what was happening and it changed everything. So let's talk about how a lot of designers undervalue their work and exactly how to fix it. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, welcome. I just wanted to give you a quick update on my life. It's been about 4 months since I've left my corporate software engineering job to become a freelance designer, and let's just say it's been quite the journey. I've learned so much even in just such a short amount of time, and some of it the hard way, like the really expensive way. But that's why I wanted to make this video, because if you're a designer who knows you're talented, but you're not making the money that you deserve, there's probably a reason. And spoiler alert, it's not your design skills. Okay, so let me paint you a picture of where I was a few months ago. I had just landed my first big client project and I was so excited. 6-week project, full branding, UX flows, UI designs, and a full clickable prototype. I quoted $3,500 and I thought I was killing it. That's a lot of money, especially when you're starting out. But before I go any further, I want to be super clear. Everything that I'm about to share, all of the mistakes that were made, were completely on me and not my clients. I'm honestly so grateful that they took a chance on me, especially since I was just starting out. And even though there were mistakes, I actually don't regret them. I really needed to learn these lessons. All of the clients I've worked with so far have genuinely been so great, which I know that I'm very, very lucky to say. The reason why I wanted to make this video was because of a revelation that I had working late one night. Christian was walking by and was asking how much per hour I was making on this project. I hadn't really done the math hourly. 6 weeks, let's say 30 to 40 hours per week, that's around 240 hours. And then $3,500 divided by the 240, that makes less than $15 an hour, when my coffee sometimes costs more than $7. As you can imagine, my software engineering salary, which I was coming from, was significantly much more than that. Not to mention that this project ended up being a lot longer than anticipated, like more than double the amount of time in our contract due to scope creep. Yet the payment amount did not change, which basically meant it was a lot less than $15 an hour. That was my wake-up call. Okay, so here's what I realized, and this might sound obvious. There's this huge disconnect between what we think that we're worth and what we're actually worth. As designers, especially those who switch careers, we have this voice in our head saying, but I'm still learning, or I'm not as good as this designer. Do you know what that voice is? It's imposter syndrome. It's this feeling like you're not qualified enough, like someone's gonna figure out you don't belong here, even though you're literally doing the work successfully. I had it pretty bad, and I still do, and it's something that I've struggled with my entire career, especially when I was a software engineer. Here I was, creating entire design systems for my clients, solving real-world problems, but in my head I was like, I'm not a real designer though, even though I was literally designing. Plus, I kept telling myself, I have to start somewhere and I gotta start working no matter the cost. And to some degree that is true. It's totally fine to set your rates lower at the start to build your portfolio and get those first clients. But here's what I didn't realize. It's even more important to remember to raise those rates as you improve. I've met so many potential clients with absolutely amazing product ideas that need designs. And honestly, I would love to help all of them. But I had to learn that my time is also an asset. But here's the thing. And Christian actually helped me realize this by asking, do you know how much companies pay for design work? Do you know what value you're providing? The design work that I was doing, it wasn't just making things pretty. I was solving actual business problems and creating solutions that help clients connect with their customers. That has real monetary value. Now, I'm not saying charge $150 tomorrow if you're at $20 today, but I am saying start increasing. After every successful project, I bump my rates up. It feels scary every time, but knowing the value that I create helps put it into perspective every time. Okay, lesson 2, and this one's for my people pleasers, and I am a chronic people pleaser. The client asks for one small change, you say yes. They ask for another. Yes. Can we try a different color scheme? Sure. What about a completely different direction? Of course. I literally had another project with over 12 rounds of revisions. My contract said 3, but did I enforce it? No. because I wanted to be nice and I didn't learn how to say no. But here's what I learned, and this was quite hard for me to accept. Saying yes to everything is not being nice, and it's actually not helping anyone. The client gets frustrated because the project drags on, you get resentful because you're basically working for free, and ultimately the work suffers because you're burnt out. Now, every contract includes X number of round of revisions included. Additional revisions are billed at a rate of X. And the crazy part is that clients actually prefer this because there's a set expectation laid out. They consolidate their feedback better, the projects finish on time, and everyone's happier. Boundaries are so important, especially as a freelancer. Alright, so this next one might sound basic, but it's important to iterate and reiterate. Time management as a freelancer is completely different than corporate. In corporate, someone else manages your time. Meetings are scheduled for you, deadlines are set, you just show up. As a freelancer, every single minute is a choice. And without structure, I find myself in this weird space where I was always working but never really productive, or just scrolling mindlessly on the couch. I'd spend like 4 hours perfecting something the client would never notice, or worse, I'd procrastinate all day feeling guilty and then panic at 2 a.m. and do all of the work. I've learned that I have to schedule my day to the minute, which I usually do the night before. It's not to be obsessive, it's to understand where my time actually goes. My nightly planning is now sacred. I block out client work, content creation, and even lunch, time to go to the gym, and also time for my hobbies to decompress. It sounds rigid, but it's actually the opposite. When work time is defined, I can actually stop work without feeling guilty. Okay, so this one is a huge one for me. Professionalism does not mean what I thought it meant, especially coming from corporate. In corporate, there's this unspoken expectation that you're always available. Late night Slack messages or late night commits to a PR were not uncommon. So when I started freelancing, I brought that same energy. I thought that being professional meant being available 24/7, responding to emails immediately, never saying no, always accommodating. But here's the thing, you're at least getting a steady paycheck whether you answer that email at 9 p.m. or not. As a freelancer, that availability without boundaries just leads to burnout, and you're not even getting paid for it. Real professionalism is respecting the business, including your own. This means setting expectations and using contracts properly. It was such a mindset shift from my engineering days when being responsive was everything. But as a freelancer, being professional means running an actual business, not being on call 24/7. I was so worried that the clients would hate this, but the actual opposite happened. The right clients, the ones who value your work, they respect boundaries and understand the importance of flexibility as well. So if you're coming from corporate like me, you don't have to bring that always available mentality to freelancing. Okay, so this is the last one, and honestly, I think this is the most important one. Contracts are not just legal protection, they're relationship builders. I had contracts or was provided contracts from day one. We signed them, great, but then we didn't actually follow them and things would get too flexible. Scope creep, I absorbed it. Late payments, I didn't follow up. Project extensions, sure, no problem. I thought being flexible was providing better service, but what I learned is that clients actually appreciate structure. They want to know what to expect. Here's what I discovered. When expectations are crystal clear from the start, everyone can relax. The client knows what they're getting, I know what I'm delivering, and we can focus on the fun part, creating amazing work together. Now, when something comes up outside the original scope, it's not awkward. We just have a professional conversation about it. It actually strengthened my client relationships because there's mutual respect and understanding. The best part is that the projects flow better, the clients are happier, and I can put my energy into design instead of worrying about boundaries. So if you're undercharging, saying yes to everything, and wondering why freelancing feels so hard, you're not alone. These aren't character flaws. These are just things no one teaches us and it may be overlooked. A few months ago, I was making less than minimum wage, doing specialized design work. And now I'm building something sustainable. The thing is, every successful freelancer that you admire has more or less gone through the same thing. They just figured out these lessons the expensive way, just like I did. So if any of this resonated with you, I'd love to know which part. And if you want to see more of this journey, feel free to subscribe. I'm figuring this out as I go, and it's nice knowing that I'm not alone in this. And hopefully some of these tips can help you avoid making the same mistakes that I did. And as always, thanks for watching.